Have you ever felt that something small, almost invisible, carried a meaning so intense it unsettled you, like a simple hello that lingered in your mind long after the moment passed? Because deep down, you knew it wasn't just a greeting. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and like this video because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you see every interaction from now on. Most men are trained to look for obvious signals, big gestures, dramatic confessions, clear signs. But attraction, real, consuming, emotionally loaded attraction, rarely announces itself loudly. It hides in the subtle, the quiet, the almost deniable moments. And one of the most powerful of those moments is how a woman greets you. You see, a greeting is never just a greeting. It is the first emotional investment she makes every time she sees you. And when a woman is truly drawn to you, when her mind has already placed you in a special category, her greeting changes in ways she cannot fully control. It's not about what she says, it's about how she says it. The timing, the tone, the energy that slips through the cracks of her composure. Most men miss this because they are listening for words, not emotions. When a woman is crazy about you, her greeting carries anticipation. There is a slight pause before she speaks, as if her mind is catching up with her emotions. Her voice softens, even if she's naturally confident. And most importantly, there is a warmth that feels personal, not polite, not routine, personal. This is where it becomes dangerous for you, because if you don't recognize it, you will treat her like everyone else. And the moment you do that, the emotional connection she's quietly building begins to fade. Women don't always confess attraction directly. Instead, they leak it through behavior. And greetings are one of the purest leaks of all because they happen before she has time to filter herself. So the next time a woman says hi to you, don't just hear the word, feel the intention behind it. Because sometimes in that single moment, she is telling you everything without saying anything at all. Now I want you to slow down for a moment because what I'm about to explain is where most men completely misunderstand female psychology. And it costs them connections they never even realized they had. When a woman is not emotionally invested in you, her greeting is automatic. It is socially correct, efficient, and forgettable. She sees you, she acknowledges you, and she moves on mentally. Even if she is still physically present, there is no emotional delay, no curiosity, no internal reaction. But when she is drawn to you, even slightly, something changes in that split second before she speaks. Her mind recognizes you before her words do. And that recognition creates a micro-conflict inside her. Part of her wants to stay composed, to appear normal, to maintain control. But another part of her reacts emotionally, curiosity, excitement, nervous energy, even subtle anxiety. That internal shift is what changes the greeting. You might notice she becomes slightly more attentive than necessary. She looks at you a fraction longer than normal. Her posture subtly adjusts as if she is becoming aware of herself through your presence. This is not conscious behavior. This is emotional leakage. And here is what most men get wrong. They think confidence means ignoring these signals. No, awareness is not the same as assumption. You are not trying to convince yourself she is interested. You are learning to read when human emotion breaks through routine behavior. A woman who is crazy about you does not always become louder or more expressive. Sometimes she becomes softer, more careful, more aware of how she is being perceived by you specifically. That awareness is the key difference between general friendliness and emotional interest. Her greeting becomes slightly delayed, not because she is unsure of what to say, but because she is emotionally processing you in real time. And that processing creates a presence in her voice that cannot be faked. If you've ever felt like a simple hi from someone stayed in your mind longer than it should have, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Emotional imprinting happens in seconds, not hours. And most men walk right past it without ever realizing a moment just happened that could have meant something deeper. There is a specific kind of greeting that almost always reveals deeper attraction. And it's so subtle that if you're not paying attention, you will dismiss it as nothing. It's when she says your name, not casually, not as a habit, but with a softness that feels intentional, almost like she's tasting the sound of it. When a woman is emotionally invested, your name becomes more than just a label to her. It becomes a trigger. Saying it activates the way she feels about you. That's why the tone changes. That's why it feels different. She might say, "Hey," and hold eye contact just a little longer than necessary. There's a slight smile, but it's not performative. It's restrained, like she's holding something back. This is not something she does with everyone. And here's the psychological truth most men don't realize. Using your name creates intimacy. It personalizes the interaction instantly. It pulls you out of the background and places you at the center of her attention. When she's crazy about you, she doesn't just greet you, she connects to you. Sometimes she will even repeat your name in small ways during the conversation, almost unconsciously. This is her mind reinforcing the emotional significance you hold. This is her mind reinforcing the emotional significance you hold. But there's something deeper happening beneath the surface. She is trying to anchor your presence. People do this when they fear losing connection. When something or someone feels important, the brain subtly tries to hold on to it. Saying your name becomes a way of keeping you emotionally close, even in a simple interaction. And if you listen carefully, you will notice a difference between how she says your name and how others do. With others, it's quick, neutral, functional. With you, it's slower, warmer, slightly more deliberate. This is not performance. This is emotion leaking through structure. The danger for you is this. If you treat that moment like it's ordinary, you collapse the emotional tension she just created. You bring it back down to neutral. And once that happens repeatedly, she begins to pull back. Not because she lost interest, but because she feels unseen. Match her energy. So when she greets you like that, don't rush it. Don't break the moment. Hold eye contact. Match her energy. Let the silence breathe for a second longer than usual. Because sometimes the way she says your name is not just a greeting, it's an invitation. There is another greeting that reveals even more than words ever could. And it has nothing to do with what she says, but everything to do with what her body does the moment she sees you. Watch her movement. When a woman is indifferent, her body remains consistent. She walks the same, stands the same, gestures the same regardless of who is in front of her. There is no shift, no adjustment, no unconscious signaling. But when she is deeply drawn to you, her body reacts before her mind has time to organize itself. She orients toward you. That might sound simple, but psychologically it's powerful. Her feet turn in your direction. Her shoulders align with you. Humans naturally face what they are emotionally interested in. Even if she was engaged in something else, her attention physically redirects. This is instinctive. Humans naturally face what they are emotionally interested in. And then comes the second layer, proximity. She steps slightly closer than necessary. Not enough to be obvious, not enough to make it uncomfortable, but just enough that if you're aware, you feel it. That small reduction in distance is her testing emotional space without saying a word. A woman who is crazy about you wants to feel your presence more fully. And the easiest way to do that is by closing the gap between you. But here's where it becomes even more revealing. Her nervous system starts to show. You might notice subtle fidgeting, adjusting her hair, touching her neck, smoothing her clothes. These are not random habits. These are self-regulation behaviors. Her body is trying to manage the heightened awareness she feels around you. At the same time, there's a contradiction. She is both drawn in and slightly guarded. That tension creates a very specific energy, one that feels alive, almost charged. You sense that she is fully present with you, but also trying not to reveal just how much. Most men misread this completely. They assume confidence always looks relaxed and steady. But attraction often introduces instability. It creates micro movements, small adjustments, unconscious signals that something internally has shifted. If you ever feel like a woman's entire presence changes the moment she greets you, not dramatically, but just enough to feel different, don't ignore that. Because her body doesn't lie the way words can. And in that silent language, she may already be telling you exactly how she feels, long before she ever admits it out loud. There is a moment in her greeting that most men completely overlook, and it's the moment right after the words are spoken, the silence. When a woman is just being polite, her greeting ends quickly. Hi, hey, how are you? And then she immediately shifts her attention elsewhere. Her mind is already moving on. Even if the conversation continues. But when she is crazy about you, she lingers. Not always with words, but with presence. After she greets you, there is a pause, a subtle hesitation, as if she's waiting, not for something specific, but for you. Her eyes stay on you a second longer than necessary. Her body doesn't rush to disengage. She allows the moment to stretch, just slightly, and that stretch is everything, because psychologically that is where emotional interest lives. In the space someone is willing to hold for you without being forced to. She is giving you an opening, not a loud one, not an obvious one, but a quiet invitation to step in, to engage, to meet her at that level of attention she's offering. This is where many men fail without realizing it. They rush to fill the silence with random talk. They break eye contact too quickly. They respond in a way that feels transactional instead of present. And in doing so, they unintentionally signal that they didn't notice the moment she created. Over time, this teaches her something that you are not tuned into her. And when a woman feels that her emotional signals are not being received, she begins to shut them down. Not out of rejection, but out of self-protection. But if you do the opposite, everything changes. If you hold that silence for just a second longer, if you stay present, meet her eyes, and let the moment exist without rushing to control it, you create a connection that feels rare. Because most people are uncomfortable with silence, they escape it. But emotional depth often reveals itself inside it. A woman who lingers after greeting you is not unsure. She is open, and the way you respond in that quiet space will determine whether that openness grows or disappears without ever being spoken about again. Music. It reveals emotional priority. There is one more layer to her greeting that reveals something deeper than attraction. It reveals emotional priority. Pay attention to how she reacts when she sees you unexpectedly. When a woman is neutral about you, her greeting stays consistent regardless of timing, planned or unplanned. Her response doesn't change much. She acknowledges you, but there is no spike in emotion. But when she is truly into you, the unexpected moment exposes everything. You might catch a flash of surprise in her eyes, followed immediately by a shift in energy. Her face softens, her posture changes, and there is a brief moment where she looks almost unguarded. That moment is real because she didn't have time to prepare for you. All the composure, all the control she usually maintains, it drops for a split second. And what replaces it is genuine emotional reaction. That reaction is one of the most honest signals you will ever see. Sometimes she will light up instantly and then comes the greeting. Other times she will try to hide it, looking away, adjusting herself, pretending to stay composed. But even in hiding it, she reveals it. And then comes the greeting. It may sound slightly different than usual, either a bit more energetic or slightly softer depending on her personality. But the key is this: it carries residue from that initial emotional spike. You can feel that something just happened inside her. And here's where it becomes powerful for you to understand. People don't react like that unless someone matters to them. Indifference is stable. Attraction is reactive. A woman who is crazy about you cannot always control how she responds to your presence, especially when she's caught off guard. Her mind hasn't had time to put up the usual filters, so her emotions surface more clearly. This is why those unexpected encounters are so revealing. They show you her raw response before social behavior steps in. They are emotional habits forming around your presence. If you notice that she consistently reacts more strongly when she sees you out of nowhere, even in small ways, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Patterns like that are not random. They are emotional habits forming around your presence. And once someone begins to associate you with that kind of emotional reaction, you are no longer just another person in their life. You've become someone their mind and body respond to automatically. Now here's the part no one tells you, and it's the part that determines whether any of this ever turns into something real. Recognizing her greeting is not enough. If you see the signs and do nothing with them, you slowly train her to feel less. Attraction doesn't just grow on its own. It responds. It evolves based on feedback. And your response, especially in those first few seconds of interaction, either deepens the connection or quietly erases it. Do you meet her presence or do you deflect it? Do you create a moment or do you rush past it? A woman who is crazy about you is taking a risk even in something as small as a greeting. She is allowing a piece of her emotional state to be visible. Not fully, but enough. And what she's watching very carefully is how you handle it. Do you notice her energy or do you stay surface level? Do you meet her presence or do you deflect it? Do you create a moment or do you rush past it? These questions are not asked out loud, but they are answered every single time you interact with her. And over time, those answers shape how she feels about you. If you remain unaware, distracted, or emotionally flat, she begins to pull back. Not because she stopped liking you, but because the connection feels one-sided, and no one stays emotionally open where they feel unseen. But if you do something different, everything shifts. When she greets you with warmth, you match it, but you don't overdo it. You stay grounded, calm, present. You hold eye contact just a little longer. You let your tone carry intention, not just words. You show her without saying it that you felt the moment too. This creates something rare, mutual awareness. And that is where real attraction begins to grow into something deeper. Because at the end of the day, it's not about decoding every signal perfectly. It's about being present enough to respond to what's real in front of you. A greeting may seem small, almost insignificant, but in the right moment, with the right awareness, it becomes the beginning of something powerful. And now the next time a woman looks at you, says your name, and lingers just a second longer than she needs to, you won't miss